stage is set for tomorrow's presidential debate in North Carolina. The SS Monterey gets underway after promising to comply with federal health regulations. And the Rainbows run away with another one to make it 4 straight.
The Channel 2 News, Hawaii's #1 news, with Kirk Matthews and Denise Cannon.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Saturday, the 24th of September.
From WMAR-TV, Baltimore, Stan Stovall and Mary Beth Marsden with the news, meteorologist Noam Lewis, and Scott Garceau with sports. This is News Channel 2, Nightside.
This is the 11 o'clock edition of the TV2 News Hour with Art Brown, sports with the Dean, Omar Williams, and Bob Breck has the weather.
Good evening. Dayton is still stunned.
Live from White Columns, television center of the South, in Atlanta, capital of the South, comes Newsroom. First, the top stories from the nation and around the world with Ray Moore and Dick Horner. Brought to you by Eastern Airlines. Now, here's Ray Moore.
Arizona's news people.
News Channel 3 with Cameron Harper and Heidi Fogelsong, Jim Howell and Rock Road. Arizona's News Channel, News Channel 3.
Good evening, everyone. Topping tonight's News Channel 3, a Scottsdale City worker.
This is Channel 3.
From the television news leader in Central Illinois, the Channel 3 News at 10 with Jerry Slade, Suzanne Reed, Judy Fraser Weather, and Chris Whitlick Sports.
Good evening. Officials of the United Auto Workers Union say a strike is...
This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News, the news most people watch, with Pat Sheehan, Denise DeCenzo, Hilton Cataly Weather, and Dave Smith Sports.
Good evening, everyone. Rain-slicked highways around Connecticut.
WKZO-TV Channel 3 serving West Michigan.
News Source 3, Thursday, October 24th. Your West Michigan source for news, weather, sports, and a special report on children in need, what it takes to be a foster parent. Now, here's the News Source 3 news team to tell you more.
Good evening, West Michigan. I'm Tom McWilliams.
And I'm Lynn Emons.
News 4 Night Beat with Mort Krim and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz with sports, Brian Tegland in Weather Watch, and the News 4 Night Team.
Championship hopes are stirring in Detroit tonight. Both the Red Wings and the Pistons look for victory in their playoff battles.
From the News Center of Arkansas, this is Eyewitness News Tonight.
Hart doing well, but Mondale doing better. I'm Carolyn Long.
And I'm Bob Brennan.
It's time for News 4, and you're with Colorado's News Channel. Bob Palmer, Stephanie Riggs, Larry Green, and Les Shapiro. Live on 4, this is News 4 at 5.
Normally, you get a clear view of downtown from our Tech Center City Cam.
From WJXT News Channel 4, this is Eyewitness News.
Hello, everybody. There is new information about the potentially hazardous dump site.
You're watching WJXT News Channel 4 with Tom Wills, Deborah Gianolis, Chief Meteorologist George Wenterling, and Sam Kavaris with sports on Eyewitness News.
Mandarin business owners and residents are getting an earful.
Channel 5 News at 10
the #1 primetime news hour in Los Angeles. Now, Emmy Award-winning Hal Fishman, Debbie Davison, Larry McCormick, Steve Roll with sports, and the entire Channel 5 news team. Good evening.
Good evening. They used to say that what's good for General Motors was good for the country.
This is Channel 5, Fox Television in Washington, D.C.
Now, America's #1 primetime newscast. This is Channel 5's 10 o'clock news.
Evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
WPTV, West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Vero Beach. Live from your 24-hour news source, this is Action 5 News, the Night Beat.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Laurel Sauer.
And I'm Jim Syka. Thank you for joining us on the Night Beat, where there are cheers.
WRTV 6 Indianapolis. This is Channel 6 News at 11 with Clyde Lee, Dionne Willis, weather with meteorologist Bob McLean, and sports with Ed Sorensen. Now, live, WRTV Channel 6 News at 11.
Good evening to you. A whirlwind summit.
A friend you can count on in Milwaukee. This is the TV6 News at 10.
This is what much of Utah looks like today after a winter storm dumped more than a foot of snow. That storm is headed our way.
You're watching WTDJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at noon.
Remember this sight? The flames came dangerously close. Zoo handlers racing to get animals out of harm's way and firefighters battling back a potential disaster.
Live from KFTM TV, the choice of Southeast Texas. You're watching 6 News at 6.
Information provided by Channel 6 viewers tonight has played a role in the arrest of a suspected bank robber.
Now, the news specialists. Linda Coldiron, Gary Spinell, Richard Montague, Chopper 7. From the newsroom in Seattle, this is Channel 7 Weekend Eyewitness News.
Good evening. The Marines are out of Beirut tonight.
This is KOAT-7, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, Bill Sandifer, Trinette Ledford, Ed Lopez, and Joe Diaz with the area's #1 news source, Action 7 News.
Good evening, everyone. A storm system that swept southern New Mexico with near hurricane-force winds is being blamed for...
Eyewitness News, the Chicago area's leading news, with Joel Daly, Linda Yu, Jim Rose, and Jerry Taft.
An extra alarm fire at a printing plant in west suburban Elgin. 6 firefighters slightly injured battling that blaze.
Now, from WKBW-TV News Channel 7, here's Keith Radford and Kathleen Layton with Eyewitness News at 5.
From KAIT-TV, serving Region 8. Shelby Timmons. David Avery. Craig Yancey. This is Region 8 News.
Some residents of Pleasant Plains believe their drinking water has been contaminated.
Stay tuned for the news leader, News at 8 on WGAL-TV.
Now, the Susquehanna Valley's #1 newscast, News at 8's Evening Reports, with anchors Keith Martin, Kim Lemon, Ron Martin, sports with Jim Stone, and meteorologist Rob Dixon.
Good evening. The governor's budget proposal is on the table.
From WFLA-TV, 8 on your side. This is News Channel 8 at 6.
A condemned killer dies in the electric chair, but a child murderer gets one more day.
A last-minute change derails Florida's first double execution in 31 years. Good evening, I'm Bob Height.
I'm Irene Mayer in for Gail Sierens. The man who murdered a Lakeland boy 14 years
tonight. Live from the Piedmont News Channel, this is the Fox 8 10 o'clock news.
Freedom provides a mother and her daughter with a happy ending.
Fantastic voyages among the star worlds of space beyond time. Space 1999, Saturday night at 7, here on Channel 9.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Harris. This is Channel 9 News on a Monday afternoon.
The 9 o'clock news with John Drury, Denise Cannon, and the WGN News team.
Good evening. Chicago police are still looking for 3 suspects tonight after they broke into a Southwest Side home.
Channel 9, WCPO-TV, Cincinnati.
This is Channel 9 News with Carol Williams, Clyde Gray, Bob Allen's weather, and Dennis Jansen sports.
Good evening. Tensions in the Persian Gulf are tonight approaching the boiling point.
More local, more meaningful. This is News 9.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ann Halloran.
I'm Kelly Ogle. We're glad you're here for News 9 at 6.
From WHEC TV Rochester, this is Night Watch 10 with Janet Lomax, Gabe Dalmuth, Rich Funky on sports, and meteorologist John Hambleton.
Good evening. I'm Laura Saxby. Janet is on assignment.
Proud to serve Western Indiana and Eastern Illinois, this is WTHI TV 10, the news station. Now, live, Marla Keller, Tom Christopher, Kevin Orford, and Mike King. This is Action 10 News.
12 hours of voting is over tonight.
News Center 10 p.m. is simulcast in Spanish on KVVA 860 AM. News Center 10 p.m. With Dave Patterson and Deborah Pyburn Brewer. Dave Muncie with weather. Clarence Scott with Health Watch. Fred Khalil with sports. And the team from News Center 10.
It appears tonight that a 2-year chase for the White House...
From KOLN Lincoln and KGIN Grand Island, this is 1011 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. New developments today in the death of John Welch.
WXIA-TV, 11 Alive, Atlanta.
Good evening, I'm Ellen Burstein. A series of tornadoes touched down in Alabama and Georgia tonight.
Serving Hamilton, Toronto, and the Niagara Peninsula. This is CHCH TV 11.
October 7th, 1982. At last, GO train service will be expanded to Hamilton, and the sod is turned for Hamilton's airport revitalization.
Well, a very good soggy evening, everyone. I'm Dan McClain, and this is TV 11 Newsroom.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dick Meadows. On a bad, soggy evening, we have got lots of baseball. We've got plenty of track from Brisbane and some fine high school football in the rain.
From Arkansas's very own KTHV. This is 11 Action News.
A Little Rock group rallies to stop teen violence before it happens.
Good evening, I'm Sandy Miller.
And I'm Dave Erickson. The news starts now. A big stink could force 300 Jefferson County families out of their homes. It's our top story tonight. Good evening, everyone. We'll have that story in just a moment.
You're watching 11 News at 9 with Sandy Miller, Dave Erickson, Mark Marie with weather, and Rich Gould with sports. This is 11 News at 9.
This is Channel 12 KFES TV.
This is Channel 12 News with news anchors Mike Shane and Jane Mitchell, weathercaster Don McNeely, and sports director Randy Ray.
Good afternoon. Over 2 acres of high-grade marijuana plants were confiscated near the Perry-St. Genevieve County line.
Live from Kansas' #1 news source, Roger Cornish, Cindy Close, Merrill Teller's Doppler radar weather, and Bruce Hurdle's sports. This is Channel 12 Eyewitness News at 6.
Tonight, first at 10, the presidential deadlock in the hands of the highest court. Tonight, the Supreme Court hears from both sides.
Who's watching you while you shop? Tonight, the truth about holiday shopping security in a live report.
And one foul mix-up. See this surprise a woman got in her McDonald's meal. It's 10 o'clock.
Live, Kurt Ludlow, Shauna Parsons, meteorologist Rod Hill, and Tim Becker Sports. This is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. An historic day in Washington, D.C. The nation's highest court has asked...
From WRTW, the station on your side. News 12 at 6 o'clock starts now.
She cries all the time. She cannot sleep from itching.
KTNV TV, Las Vegas. This is News 13 Late, Southern Nevada's only late-night hour of news.
Good evening. Is the United States headed for war against the Soviet Union? It's an opinion shared by many, and in particular, an Army general on the National Security Council.
KOVR TV, Stockton, Sacramento. Northern California's fastest growing news service. From the Stockton Modesto News Center and our studios in Sacramento, this is Newswatch 13 at noon.
Continuing with our news now, more bad weather. The Midwest and Northeast are bracing for record low temperatures.
WMVB, Panama City.
We belong together on Channel 13.
Coming up on News Center 13, opening arguments began today in the first-degree murder trial for Eugene Widener, and the city of Panama City throws out a proposed revision of their animal control ordinance tonight. I'm Larshay Hardy. Details of these and other stories next. Live from Channel 13, covering all of Northwest Florida, news, weather, and sports, this is News Center 13 tonight. Panama City Commission took care of some controversial issues at its regular meeting tonight.
You're watching CBS for Western Oregon. And now, from the combined newsrooms in Eugene, Roseburg, and Coos Bay, this is Northwest News at 11.
The Oregon Ducks are ready for action. The football team is now in East Lansing, preparing to take on the Michigan State Spartans in less than 24 hours. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Northwest News on this Wednesday. I'm Randall Whipple.
And I'm Jennifer Winters.
KMAG 14.
Your hometown news starts now.
Welcome to your hometown news. I'm Michelle Stewart. Defense attorneys make their case in the trial of Paul Hill.
You're watching WPDE TV 15. And now, Steve Hawley, Tiffany Cochran, meteorologist Ed Piotrowski, and sports director Bob Mahalik. This is 15 News Night Beat.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hawley.
And I'm Tiffany Cochran. Here's your first look at news on the Night Beat.
You're watching NBC 15 on WPMI. And now, NBC 15 News live at 6 o'clock.
Another store robbery, and again the victim fights back using deadly force. We talked exclusively with this victim.
A Mobile woman claims her neighbor's dog attacked her child. Now she's calling for tougher law enforcement.
And this airplane is important to all of us. It's the one that determines if a hurricane is coming this way. You hear more about this high-tech flying machine. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharon Melton. Jim Thomas has the night off.
And I'm Natalie Tisdale. Thank you for joining us tonight. We begin tonight with the...
This is ABC 15 News, the 6 o'clock difference.
A sad day in the Valley as a brotherhood of officers says goodbye to one of their own.
And a Valley resort closes its doors after nearly 50 years. What's coming up next? We'll tell you.
And another airline adding more charges to its tickets. How much can you expect to shell out the next time you need to fly?
It has been a very rough ending to a very long week for Valley police officers. Good evening to you, and thanks for being with us. I'm Jonathan Elias.
And I'm Katie Rammel.
Well, good evening. I'm Rick Schutz.
And I'm Aaron Murphy. A group of legislators and other people from the community met with Governor Pat Quinn today in Chicago.
This is KSN 16, your hometown news at 10, with Jim Jackson, Tiffany Alanis, meteorologist Gary Vandy, and Sean Terrell Sports.
One person is dead and several others are in critical condition.
You are watching Oregon's News Source Network, and this is News Source 11 at 11.
Good evening, Oregon. I'm Mark Telschek. Catherine Herr has the night off.
Now, Fox 16 News at 9. First, complete local.
The following is a rebroadcast of Newswatch 16 update. Recorded earlier for playback at this time. WNEP TV 16, the news station. Proud to serve all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is Newswatch 16 Weekend Update.
Good evening, I'm Susan Hausman. Keeping the faith.
Good evening. Anna's off tonight. The U.S. aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk collided with a nuclear-powered Soviet attack submarine in the southern sea of Japan today.
From WAND-TV, this is News Center 17 at 10 o'clock. You're watching WAND-TV with Dawn Sterling, Sean Streety, Chief Meteorologist Lee Davis, and Sports with Steve Breitweiser. News Center 17 at 10 o'clock continue. You're watching Fox 17 News at 10 for Monday, July 17th, 2000.
A man wanted for molesting a 6-year-old girl is behind bars tonight after police received the tip they were looking for. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Monty Knight.
And I'm Michelle DeSelms. First on Fox 17 News at 10.
You're watching Fox 17 News at 10.
First on Fox tonight, the dog Dave's his summer.
You're watching WLFI, Lafayette's own TV station.
News Service 18, the late edition, with David Walker, Terry McDermott, Kathy Von Pine, and Larry Clisby. Mid-North Indiana's only local television newscast.
Good evening to you. The Philippines now have 2 people claiming to be president.
WDHN TV 18, Dothan, Alabama. This is News 18.
There appears to be a conflict in the stories on the refugee attack in Kosovo. Good evening, I'm Andrea Baubel, and this is News 18 at 10.
The rivalry continues tonight as Old High tries to hold on to number one. We'll have a live report. The investigation continues into yesterday's tragic explosion as the bodies of those sailors killed are brought home. Plus a recall involving some 400,000 baby carriers. It's time for Fox 18 News at 9. Good evening, everyone. I'm Todd Davis. First on Fox Tonight.
With coverage you can count on, this is LEX 18 News Evening Edition.
Welcome to LEX 18 News. I'm Dia Davidson. It's 7 o'clock and Evening Edition starts now. Shots fired, a man injured, a fight that investigators say went on 2 days.
From South Carolina's capital city, Gene Upright, Diana Watson, Camille Bradford, and Bob Shields. You're watching News 19 at 6.
Good evening, I'm J.R. Berry. Gene Upright has the night off.
And I'm Diana Watson.
Right now, in high definition, the Fox 19 Morning News at 6.
Good morning, it is 6 o'clock. I'm Sheila Gray.
And I'm Rob Williams. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we were dealing with the humid temperatures. This morning we're...
Now, the hometown advantage. KDK TV News.
It was a successful robbery attempt until the accused bad guy got to the door.
Live with the news you need. Jim Bailey, Liz Mari, meteorologist Joe Reedy with weather, and Bob Haywood's Sports Minute. This is ABC 19 News at 6 in high definition.
TV 20 News with Paige Beck, Ed Mertz, John Cornell Sports, and meteorologist James Martin, and the TV 20 News team.
Good evening. The Danny Rolling trial has taken on a new twist, and it comes as a shock to everyone involved.
Now, coverage you can count on. WUTR, Channel 20, 11 at 11.
The three men in custody for their alleged roles in funneling money to Iraq asked to be set free. Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks very much for joining us tonight. I'm Steve Osterhaus.
Tonight on my TV 20 News at 10, he served and protected people for 30 years.
And we lost a good man.
Remembering a local police chief who died unexpectedly.
Plus the city's case and the criminal case against Kwame Kilpatrick, both moving forward.
Certainly he's not helping himself. He's complicating his chances of having a sympathetic jury.
The latest in the Kilpatrick controversy.
Plus, how a vote could save part of Tiger Stadium from the wrecking ball.
My TV 20 News at 10 starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Nathan O'Leary.
And I'm Sonia Walls. Thank you so much for joining us for My TV 20 News at 10.
This is WPTA TV, Fort Wayne, a Granite Broadcasting Company station. Your number one news with Keith Edwards, Marty Wright, Greg Johans, and Jay Walker. Now, the latest from the 21 Alive newsroom.
Good evening, everyone. They are the object of our anger.
You're watching WFMJ TV 21, where 21 stands for more local news. This is 21 Action News, 11 p.m.
The year 2001 is just a few days away.
But citizens in a Trumbull County town don't yet know exactly how their money will be spent next year. Most of Warren's $22 million budget is agreed upon.
Next on WB21 News at 9, it's down to the wire on an historic tax vote. Yes or no to a $1 billion tax hike. It's a taxing decision.
And I'm Morris Jones, pulling $87 billion out of his hat, the latest reaction of President Bush's plans for Iraq. Plus, remembering 9/11, a special report.
Plus, a garden fight gets downright dirty. Good evening, everyone. I'm Craig Boswell. Thank you for joining us tonight for this very first broadcast of WB21 News at 9 on this Monday, September 8th.
Southern Colorado, you're right at home with Fox 21. And the region's first and only primetime newscast, 1 hour earlier. This is Fox 21 News at 9.
Thanks for watching Fox 21 News at 9. I'm Joe Cole.
And I'm Stephanie Petlinski.
Now live, the news leader brings you more of Western Massachusetts' #1 hour of news and information. News Center 22 at 6.
We flirted with record highs again today, but cooler air is on our doorstep. I'll show you that, plus some storms headed our direction.
They present a lot of problems for us. And I think that, we're definitely concerned and focused on trying to address those as of today.
In other words, Coach Weiss knows Michigan State poses a threat to the so far undefeated season.
And our top story, it's big, expensive, and controversial. And tonight, we should know the future of a big plant proposed for St. Joseph County.
Live, this is News 22 at 6.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Collins.
I'm Deborah Daniels. Cindy has the night off.
A big decision is brewing at the County City building.
That's right.
Right now, a baseball legend with Ohio ties is gone. We have the history of the Boss.
An organization reaching out to put local kids to work and even set them on the right career path.
And it may not be your typical wedding location, but an area couples ties the knot in a very meaningful way.
From the heart of where you live, this is ABC 22, Dayton's news source at 6.
Weather-wise, did have some heavy rain rolling through the area this afternoon. Good evening, I'm Don Hammond.
I'm Kylie Conway. We certainly did. I heard it outside.
Henry & Company in Clearfield. Fine furnishings, antiques, and rugs.
ABC 23 News, we're here for you.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Natalie Fennell. Angie Baudorf has the night off.
First, complete, local. You're watching Fox 23 News at 9. With Shara Kimiko, Darren Dito, sports with Vic Faust, and Chief Meteorologist John Slater with your first response forecast.
Next on 23 News, swept away. Hundreds of jobs are cut at North Canton's Hoover plant. Flood finances. Help is on the way for local folks who suffered storm damage. And school's out. A Portage County school closes its doors for the final time. 23 News starts right now.
PAX 23 News is made possible by our founding sponsors, including your local Ford store.
Live from downtown Akron, this is PAX 23 News with Eric Mansfield, weather with Mark Nolan, and sports with Jim Donovan.
Yeah, it's rough for everybody. It doesn't matter where you work.
Noticias 23, edición nocturna.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos. La madre de una niña que falleció la semana pasada mientras estaba...
Where news comes first, NBC 24 News at 11 starts now.
My next move would be a cemetery.
Fighting fire. The city says they want her house for a fire station. Now, she talks to NBC 24 as she fights for her home.
Hen clipped. A Toledo mud hen busted during batting practice. This is NBC 24 News at 11. Good evening. I'm Jim Blue.
And I'm Jennifer Stacy.
Now on 2451.
Tomorrow night, the Razorbacks take the field in Omaha. Game 1 of the College World Series. We'll have a live report tonight on the run-up to that game.
And rescuers had to save a man who drove a cement truck off a low-water bridge.
Also, a real code blue and a 345-pound bear wandered to a hospital in Virginia.
Good evening, I'm Dina Day.
I'm Don Elkins. Welcome to NBC 2451 News at 10 o'clock.
Live with coverage you can count on in Northwest Arkansas. This is Arkansas's NBC News at 10. With Don Elkins, Dina Day, Chief Meteorologist Rick Catsby's First Alert Precision Doppler Forecast, and sports with the Arkansas's NBC Sports Team. Now,
Newscast First, certified the Mid-South's most accurate by weather rate.
Well, good evening. I'm meteorologist Mark Walden.
Tonight on 10 at 10, Memphis's loss is Green Bay's gain. The Zip and Pippin in it.
Next on the prime time news at 9, explosions rock downtown Tulsa as a gas plant goes up in flames. Plus, the heroes behind a tanker on fire.
And I'm Morris Jones. A series of shootings in West Virginia. Is there another sniper on the loose? And the new scandal in the death of a college basketball player.
Good evening. I'm Andrew Spino. Thank you for joining us. It was a busy day for firefighters.
You're watching your home team at 10. Tom McIntyre, Mike Dimmick, Lee Ranson's Weather Plus forecast, and sports with Lee Hall. This is News 25 Nightside.
Serving mid-Michigan, you're watching NBC 25 News at 5.
Tonight on NBC 25 News at 5, several local blocks evacuated as a hazmat team swoops in to secure what could be a dangerous situation.
All right, we are experiencing shaking here right now in the studio. Perhaps a tremor of sorts. We aren't really sure. The whole studio is shaking.
Studio is shaking.
Plus, a quake hits the Midwest, and it's all caught on TV.
And I'm Mark Torregrossa. How does the weekend look? We have rain to the west. Is it coming this way? I'll let you know.
The first hour NBC 25 top story tonight. Hazmat crews in Flint work hard.
From KXXV TV, your first choice for news with Ann Harder and Bruce Geetson, Chief Meteorologist Andy Wallace, and Sports Director Vince Erickson. This is the News 25 Night Beat.
Severe weather warnings are issued for parts of central Texas. We're glad you're with us. I'm Bruce Geetson.
And I'm Ann Harder.
You're watching WTBK Channel 26 Knoxville. And this is News Center 26 with Alan Denton, Brenda Birch, Topper Shutt, and Rusty Emmer.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Birch.
And I'm Alan Denton. This is how it looked from the ground last night.
This is Fox 26 News at 9. News that works for you.
Thanks. A shootout outside a Texas City bar.
He wouldn't give himself up.
This is Fox 26 News at 9 with Mike Barajas, Melissa Wilson, Chief Meteorologist Cecilia Sinclair, and Sports Director Mark Berman. News that works for you.
A nationally known gospel singer from Houston.
Hey, we are so glad you're here. Welcome to News with a Twist, where we're all bundled up today.
It's a turtleneck day.
Oh my God.
From 27 News, live from the capital of Kansas, this is 27 News at 6. This is 27 News at 6, coverage you can count on. Judged best newscast by the Kansas Association of Broadcasters for 3 consecutive years, with Amy Leitz, Nate Hill, meteorologist Bruce Jones, and Jared Smalley with sports. You're watching 27 News at 6 on KSNT.
This is 27 News First at 11.
We're following breaking news tonight. The search for a missing man with Alzheimer's is over. He's been found alive 3 days after he disappeared.
A motorcycle crash on Interstate 64 turns deadly. How police say a loose tire caused it.
A shooting and a search in Jessamine County spills over into Lexington.
And we're learning more tonight about layoffs that will affect hundreds of Kentucky coal miners. 27 News First at 11 starts now.
Good evening. He had been missing for 3 days.
You're watching 27 News at 6. Straight to the point.
The web of the Jocko's drug case ensnares a Madison teacher.
You're watching ABC 27. This is ABC 27 News at 11.
Ready, set, go. 60 days of fast-paced Florida politics begins. A good Tuesday evening to you, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren Elise.
You're watching WPTF TV 28, your NBC station. Now, Ben Garrett and Sharon Kester with news, Mark Barger with sports, and Van Coleman with weather. This is Newsbeat 28 Update.
Good evening, I'm Ben Garrett.
And I'm Sharon Kester. If you've looked outside...
Live from wherever news is breaking, this is ABC Action News.
Now at 6, a possible new victim and new threat against children from the serial sniper.
A Bucks player is out of jail tonight after being accused of beating up his girlfriend.
And a new development in the case of this missing Polk County baby. Good evening, I'm Marty Tucker.
And I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
You're watching ABC Action News with Marty Tucker, Brendan McLaughlin, meteorologist Dennis Phillips, and Jay Crawford with sports, taking action for you. Trust meteorologist Dennis Phillips and local action Doppler.
Good evening, everybody. You look outside, it looks...
Right now on Fox 28 News.
I'm Amanda Tetlak. A common council member says he was pulled over for no reason in South Bend.
Tonight, a citizens group is coming to his defense. Also tonight,
it's the ultimate stimulus package from cover to cover.
Playboy's covering the election in a way that only they can. And
when it comes to us, that's artwork. It's not a paint job.
Meet the Michiana man whose canvas is as unique as he is. Watch as he puts art in motion. The news starts right now.
In high definition, this is Fox 28 News at 10.
First on Fox, a controversial comment during tonight's Senate debate, and it is already making national headlines.
This is the 10 o'clock news.
A random act of kindness left a good Samaritan needing a rescue of his own. Tonight, family members talk about the 17-year-old clinging to life after being trapped under a car.
Doctors say the outlook isn't good for the teen, but family members are holding on to every last bit of hope. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jordana Green.
I'm Chris Cananglo. The 17-year-old stopped to help a woman change her tire on...
Next here at 10, Charlottesville police are investigating what they call a burglary and sexual assault that prompted some school lockdowns. Plus, Anthem customers may not be able to receive in-network benefits at Augusta health facilities come 2018. But up first tonight, shut off those sprinklers as mandatory water restrictions are now in place in Charlottesville and Albemarle County.
Live from the area's most experienced news team, this is NBC 29 News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday night. The big story, the Charlottesville-Albemarle area is officially under a drought warning.
A big night of news.
Plus a whole new look.
Fox 29 News starts now.
This is Fox 29, 10 o'clock news.
Severe storms sweep into our area and hang around for hours. This video out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where there's been waves of rain and heavy floods.
Yakima's first and only local newscast, KIMA Action News, starts now.
The KIMA Crime Tracker has been following up on stolen cars in your neighborhood.
Live from NBC 30, Connecticut's live, local, late-breaking news leader. This is NBC 30, Connecticut News at 11.
The plows are back in business tonight, cleaning up the latest snowstorm to move across Connecticut. Hi, everybody. The snow started about 5 o'clock, and 2 to 3 inches have already piled up in southwestern portions of the state.
The snow is causing some problems on the roads tonight.
From KDNL-TV St. Louis, where you get more. This is ABC 30 News at 5.
Live. News for your hometown. This is WNNE News 31 at 6.
Coming up at 6, New Hampshire may be in trouble if they don't come up with an acceptable education funding plan by the end of the month. Queechee is hopping right now. How does the Balloon Festival boost the town's economy? And a scorcher today. We'll tell you how those who work outdoors are dealing with the heat. Good evening, I'm Heather Hamill.
Live from Fox Rochester, this is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherman Burnett.
And I'm Christine Persichetti. Donna has the night off.
You're watching the 10 o'clock news on Fox Rochester with Donna Dede, Sherman Burnett, Chief Meteorologist Michael Gouldrick, and John DeTulio with Sports Extra.
Parents of some 7th graders.
Live from UPN 31 KMAX. News, live traffic cams, business, entertainment, weather, and more.
Hello.
Time now 5:59. Hey, look who's back from vacation.
Yay, made it back. Kind of hard to get up this morning.
Coverage you can count on. This is Way 31 News, live at 6.
One evacuee family is now calling themselves Huntsvillians. See how the United Way helped this family get back on their feet.
And signs of life are flowing back into some parts of the Gulf Coast. The latest on hurricane relief efforts straight ahead. Good evening. I'm Sharon Gilviat.
And I'm Erin Dacey.
And now, TV 32 Headline News with Diane Garrett.
Good evening. An underground nuclear weapons test is scheduled for the Nevada desert next Tuesday.
Good evening, I'm Valerie Calhoun. Basketball star Magic Johnson is being credited with raising AIDS awareness overnight.
You're watching WLKY News Channel 32 at 6. With Liz Everman, John Bowl, Fred Cowgill with sports, Super Doppler 32 Weather Watch with Jay Cardosi, and the home of News Chopper 32.
WCFT-TV, Channel 33, CBS in Tuscaloosa. From WCFT-TV in Tuscaloosa, this is Channel 33's 6 o'clock edition of Eyewitness News. With Dave Baird, Tammy Watford, Kip Tyner, and Rob Martin.
Good evening.
Now, the news team that covers the first local news in the Ozarks. News Team 33 at 5:30 with Ralph Hipp, Donna Klein, Sports Director Tom Mast, Meteorologist Ron Hurst, and Call for Action reporter Sarah Overstreet. And now, News Team 33 at 5:30.
Two Springfield men are in court at this hour answering charges of first-degree murder.
The news starts right now.
Live from KDAF Dallas-Fort Worth, this is WB33 News at 9.
It got cold rather quickly.
The new My 33 News at 10. I'm Beatrice Canals.
And I'm Jennifer Santiago. The news first and fast starts right now.
Now, live, this is My 33 News at 10.
Another soaking for South Florida as people across our area spent much of the day dodging downpours.
It is all clear right now as you take a live look outside where it is a nice night.
Yeah, what's not so nice is this. We are tracking Tropical Storm Florence for you tonight.
The city reacts to yesterday's deadly shooting in Hazleton. This is your news choice, WYLN News.
From the WYLN studios in Hazleton, the area's #1 source for news, weather, and sports. This is 35 News with Doug Farley. Chief Meteorologist Joe Garbacik from the 35 Weather Center, Kim Zibori reporting, and Crystal Harris.
Welcome to WYLN News for Friday, October 21st, 2005. I'm Doug Farley.
You're watching Carolina's News Channel 36.
Now at 6, one of the Queen City's largest employers sold. What the sale means to Charlotte and to you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sonia Gant.
And I'm Dave Wagner. Thanks for joining us tonight.
You're watching Carolina's News Channel 36 with Sonia Gant, Dave Wagner, the First Warn Storm Team's Brad Panovich, and Sports with Greg Bailey.
a shootout in Lexington, and a grandma who almost got caught in the crossfire.
I said, run.
That our team is committed to getting this thing right, and we will.
Will a trip to the track this year be smoother? And an ex-cat hopes to make a splash.
ABC 36 News at 11 starts now.
Thanks so much for staying up with us. I'm Christine Winter. Breaking news tonight.
Now, NBC 739 News at 11.
A war of words. It was 90 minutes that could help determine who wins the White House.
WJSU-TV, Anniston, Gadsden.
TV 40 News, Northeast Alabama's local TV news source. With News Director Phil Cox. The latest weather affecting Northeast Alabama with Bill Hagler. And up-to-the-minute sports with Mike Scruggs.
Good afternoon, I'm Linda Cardwell.
You're watching KSHB-TV. With Kansas City's in-depth news, this is NBC 41 News Nightcast.
Good evening, I'm Sally Moore. Elizabeth Alex has the night off. He said...
You're watching NBC 41 News Nightcast. With Elizabeth Alex, Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak, and Sports Director Todd Romero. Kansas City's in-depth news.
WXTV, Univisión 41, Nueva York. Y ahora, el noticiero número 1 en toda el área triestatal. Noticias 41 a las 6.
Nueva York se convierte en el primer estado de la nación en prohibir el uso del celular mientras maneja su auto.
You're watching KView TV, Channel 42, Kennewick.
Live, this is News 42's 11 o'clock report.
Good evening. Thanks for joining me. I'm Shelley Swanky. Mike Pierce is under the weather tonight.
Trabajamos para usted. Noticiero Telemundo Chicago.
Cae el presunto secuestrador de una niña de 11 años, pero ¿dónde está la jovencita? Niños de entre 4 y 16 años eran las víctimas de un hombre que fue denunciado por su esposa. Le encontró videos pornográficos y dicen los representantes del gobierno mexicano que con las nuevas instalaciones del consulado aquí en Chicago, los malos tratos quedarán en el pasado. Buenas noches, gracias por seguir prefiriéndonos como su principal fuente de información. Esmeralda Medellín se encuentra en una asignación.
WMGT 47 News, live at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stacey Zakai. Ashley is off tonight. More news in less time starts now.
Desde el Valle de Río Grande, Noticias 48 a las 5 en vivo.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy buenas tardes. Les saluda Marianela Aguirre en este martes 1 de noviembre del 2005.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Octavio Sainz.
You're watching WYIN 56, Gary Maryville.
Coming up next on the 56 Nightly News.
2 evacuees find shelter with their extended family right here in Northwest Indiana. We'll have their story. Plus, the Lake County Sheriff's Department is doing their part to find shelter for its animal victims. And find out how a court ruling can affect how school children salute the flag. Those stories and more are next on the WYIN 56 Nightly News.
UPN 57.
Good morning and welcome back to UPN 57 Wake Up News. I'm Michelle Jerson in for Sean Murphy. Behind me we have a shot of 422 at 23. Taillights are heading eastbound. I'll tell you what's going on there as well as where there are some malfunctioning traffic lights coming up next.
And good morning. I'm meteorologist Melissa Sander. And ahead, we've got some rain on tap. What kind of a weekend will it be? I'll let you know.
And new developments in the search for a missing pregnant mother. Police search the home of the father of her unborn child.
And now, UPN 57 Wake Up News.
It's Friday, July 29th. We've got nonstop traffic, the latest weather, and your morning headlines. Arrive on time and informed, no matter where you're headed.
Live from Tucson, this is your first light news. This is WV News, first at 9 with Heather Rowe.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Here's what's happening at 9 o'clock tonight. Aircraft that fly over Tucson every day.
From the 11 Alive studios, this is UPN Atlanta News at 10.
Welcome to UPN Atlanta News at 10, where you get all the news in half the time. Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Greer. We begin tonight with the buzz around the country.